live channel. Today I'm going to implement the live bot in the cloud VPS server. So in this case, for example, I'm going to use the Oracle's free tier VPS server, and then the structure will be like this graph. So let me briefly introduce the flow of this structure. So firstly, the most important part is this one, the live cloud, and the second one is the Livebot SDK. We will need to set up these two, and of course we will need to have the basic environment, which is the cloud VPS server. If you don't have one, you can just link to my previous video, and then I will put the link down below in the description. And we will need to install Express server, and then install the Node version Livebot SDK, and then just link the SDK to the live cloud server. So every time the users or anyone send message through line to your Livebot, it will hook up with our Linkbot SDK, and then we can process the message and then do something and then reply to the user. For example, anybody. So in this case, I will just make the most simple one, which is demonstrated in the official Light page, the example code, which is able to reply the user with exactly the same message. So literally, simply speaking, we don't do anything in the Livebot. We just reply exactly the same thing back to the user who sent the message to the Livebot. Okay, so let's get into the coding section. Okay, so let's get into the terminal. Here it is. So as mentioned, if you don't have your Oracle free tier server, you can just apply one for free, and you can check it from my previous video. And then I'm gonna get into my Oracle server. Okay, here it is. Okay, then and we will need to create a new project. I will name it Livebot. Oops. To get into the workspace, and then create a new folder called Livebot, and then cd into the Livebot. Okay, and now you might be wondering how can we edit the code or create the code base in the inside the remote server. So I will use the code server, so-called code server, which provide the VS Code editor on the cloud. So we will be able to access it through the browser. So I will demo this one to you. If you don't know how to create one, I have another video. You can check it out to create your own code server. Okay, so in my case, code server is I have a code server on my domain. Look at this. It's very easy to use. It just provides exactly the same experience as the VS Code, and then you can also set up your credential to access the cloud. Okay, so this is my previous project. Okay, then we can close up my previous project and then open a new folder as the same way as you do it with the local VS Code. So we will use the open folder, and then we can choose the Livebot here, and then okay. So now we don't see anything because in this folder we don't have anything. Okay, now we need to create our own project here. So we will use the, before that, make sure that you have Node installed it. We can check it through Node version. Okay, we do have Node version, we do have Node installed it. And so let's get back to the document first. So we will need to, what we need to install is this Lightboard SDK, and then I have the documentation link down here. And then when we get into this, and then you will be able to see the documentation, and it has the basic requirement, and then we need to have Node greater than 4, version 4. And npm we will need to have the version greater than 5. So let's check the npm version. Okay, we do have 8, so there will be no problem. And now we will need to create a project. I'm gonna use the type. Okay, I'm gonna use first. I'm gonna use TypeScript. So it will be, we will need to install the dependency first. We firstly npm init y. Okay, and then it will create a package.json for us. So this is the basic npm package setting. And then secondly, we will need to init the, let's see if we have TypeScript installed globally. No, we don't. So we will need, so we just need to install it inside this Node project. Okay, so we can now, we do have yarn. We don't have yarn. Okay, we do it npm install TypeScript. Okay, we install TypeScript. So this package will be installed, the TypeScript will be installed globally inside the inside this computer, and then we can see the version after installed. Okay, now we have the TypeScript installed globally, and now we can initialize our TypeScript project by tsc init. tsc. Okay, now we have already initialized our TypeScript project, so you will be able to see the TypeScript setting here. And then, so for now, we don't need to set up anything here. We just need to install the dependencies through the command line by the npm install. So we will need to install the ts type ts node, and we will need to have the express as well. And we might need to have t types express. So let's see. Okay, now we have the express and ts node installed, and now we can start our project, I believe. So in the root folder, we create a new folder called src, and then, well, I don't have the permission because this folder is created by the SSH my user here, but the user which I'm using to access the cloud code server is not not my user of, not the same user as the one that I'm using in SSH. So I will need to open the change the permission type by sudo change mode, and then I just open the biggest permission, and then with -R and all the folder inside, all the file and all the files and folders inside the root directory. So I believe we are able to create a new folder now. Try one. Okay, I think it is okay. And then we will create a new file called index.ts. Perfect. So now the environment setting has already been done. Now we get back to the documentation of Livebot. We will see what should we do for next step, which should be installation. Here we forgot to install the most important thing, which is the Livebot SDK. So we can just simply copy this link, copy this command, and then pass it here. Perfect. Okay, so I think it's already been done. Let's check back again. Okay, we have the Livebot SDK installed, and the next step is, I believe, is the basic usage, and it says that we want to import this library. So we just import the library inside the here our index.ts, and then we will need to set up some configuration for the usage of webhook and client live channel access to token and secret are needed. About showing the token and secret, please refer to here. Okay, so you will need to have your own channel access token as well as the channel secret. You can apply one for free in just by applying register a new account and then open the developer account and then create the Livebot. So if you still don't have one, you can just get through, check out the document here, and I have already done it. So I have one, so I just log into my account here. So after logging in, you will be able to see the channel, which is my bot here, and then right after clicking in, we will be able to see the basic setting and message API, blah blah blah, and we will be able to get the channel information as well as the token information. So now we just go back to the configuration here. Okay, so I also, by the way, put the login page information here, so you'll be able to access it through through this line, this link, and okay, so we just copy paste this few lines of code into here. Okay, so I will replace this one with my secret, and okay, and then here the example code is also written by the Express, so I believe it is okay to copy paste all the code here, and then it should be working fine. So we just firstly need to make it up and running, and then we can do some further improvement. Okay, something is highlighted here. I think we copy some duplicate code. We need to like this, and this one is also duplicated. Okay. And because it is the TypeScript, so we will need to define the type here. Let's see, so this should be the request, something like this. Okay, and this should be response. Okay, now this one, express dot request. Well, we firstly do it any, and then we can improve it later. So it will be any, and here the same thing, make it any for now. Okay, and then I believe it is up and running. Yeah, we can run it, execute this now. Let's try. TS node. We'll just make it here. We make a new ambient script to execute our express server. We can call it run start, and ts node src index.ts. I think it's everything good to go, and then we can run it by npm run start. And there is something wrong. So it says that the 3000 port has already been used. So we might not use 3000. We use 3005. So let's try again. Okay, so it's cool. It's running now. We probably make a small improvement here. Console log listening to port 3005. Okay, run again. Okay, so our express server has already been executed, and then all the code can be done. We can try it now. Okay, so now we have already done this part, the express and lightbot setting, and the next part is to connect to hook these two together, the cloud and then the light SDK. Remember that our server now is running on our VPS locally, so for now it is not possible for this light service to access our express server through the internet. So we will need to set up the domain and then to hook it with our line account. Okay. So firstly, we will need to get into our domain server. I'm using the free num. You can apply your domain by yourself for free through in the free num. If you have other your favorite domain server, you can use your one. And then I will just use this domain and then manage domain. And then I'm gonna use the manage domain. Well, not here. I believe it is here, manage domain. Okay. Okay, now we have already made sure that we are able to access the uh, our Express server. But for now, let's get back to the diagram, and then to make sure which phase that we are on now. We have already done the environment setting as well as the Express server establishing and installing the Lightbot SDK. But all these services are running in our uh, cloud cloud VM's local environment, so it is not able to access it through the internet. So now we will need to open the port, and then we need to let the traffic being available to get in. Okay, now we just create a new one, which will let us to test. Let's do it app.get and just the slash and like this, and then we just the same thing. We use the request any and response any and response dot response dot just a second. Okay, it should be response. Let's try response. And we just returned we can return text and hello test. Okay, let's do like this. And next step is make it up and running, and then with the open port. In this case, we are making use of the Docker. We will pack this image into our Docker into a Docker image, and then the Docker will handle the rest of the environment thing for us. So we create a Docker file. If you are not familiar with Docker, it's just a simple tool to let us isolate this production environment with the current our local environment. So it will be much safer to use the Docker to run the production server. Okay, so we copy this one. The node, we might use the same node version as the same version as it is in our local environment. So it is the, let's see, version. Okay, we use 16.18.1, and then the working directory, we use this one is fine, and then we copy the package .json to the root directory under the working directory, and the run we don't need to make any environment variable for now. And then next one we npm install and copy the directory inside here, copied all the document or files inside here to the working directory here. I mean the inside Docker working directory here. Okay, and then again it's npm run start, and then we will expose 3005 because remember that we set it as 3005. Okay, I think we are done with the Docker, and then we can create one. We create a new Docker by this command sudo docker build -t, and we are gonna name it as the Lightbot. Okay, as you can see, it downloads the Node version because it is the first time I'm using this Node version, so it takes a little bit time to download the Node version. And after it Node is downloaded, and then it runs all the command that we defined it on the doc file, including the installing all the package. Okay, so now it is done, and then you will be able to see there is the new image called Lightbot inside our image list. Okay, and next stage is run, so we can use the docker run, and then we can define the rule of restart equal to always detach mode and the name of the image. And then one important part is that which port we will need to link from the port inside the Docker with the VPS, our virtual machine's port. In this case, both are 3005 and enter. And we can see the log by Docker logs, and then we copy this. Well, get something wrong. Okay, I think there is the issue is that we don't install the TypeScript inside we haven't installed the TypeScript inside the Docker, so we might need to install the TypeScript first globally. Anyway, we'll just make it work for now. Probably not. Let's try this. npm install TypeScript, and then we can see now we have TypeScript installed here, and then it should be working now, so we will need to redone the process again. Let's see. We need to remove it. Stop the one we just done because this one no longer available, and then we need to remove this, and then we need to remove image, this one Lightbot. Okay, then we need to do this exactly the same thing. Okay, and then we need to round it. Okay, let's see if it is working. It's still not working. Still TypeScript not found. Well. I think we need to define the TypeScript thing. Okay, I found out the issue that we just simply need to, because the error was thrown by the TypeScript compiler, so the reason is that the response object cannot recognize there is a send or text or JSON type inside the response object. So what we need to do is just disabling the strict check inside the tsconfig file, and then as soon as it is disabled, you will be able to see the syntax highlighting has been disappeared, and then we can try it again. Okay, and we need to stop this and then remove it, and then remove the image as well, and finally we rebuild it again. Okay, and then we will need to run it again. Okay, and then we check if it is working fine for this time by checking the log. Okay, now it's working fine, I believe. And now let's try to access this. We need to access the, let's get into my Oracle Cloud Console and log in, because I need to know the public address of this virtual machine. So if you don't know what this is the Oracle Cloud Service Console. And then we will need to get into this console to manage or do some security setting, networking setting by this console. And then this is the public address, and then let's check if we can access this public address with the port 3005. I believe it is not possible because we don't open this port. And now we will need to open the port here. So we get into our virtual machine, and then we will need to go to the subnet, and then what we need to do is click on this security rule, and then look at this. We have only 80 for HTTP, 443 for HTTPS, and then 3002 for the test, right? And then we now need the new port, which is 3005. So we need to add the new rule, and just a second. We need to add a new rule, 00000, and the port is, destination port is 3005. Okay, and then we just make a description, simple description called line port test, maybe. So edit, and then we have the 3000 port has already been opened, but if we check it again, oh cool, now you can see, we can see the test. So this is exactly the same response as we do here, right? Test. So it means that, go back to our diagram, it is possible to access our Express server through the internet, but now it is not from the Line Cloud, it is from my browser. So I would say now the situation is like this. This is my browser, and this is my browser, and I access the Express server this way. This is what I do, what I have just done, and then I get the response of the text test only.
Go to access the Express server by address, and then find out we define it on our code base. But you will right away realize that in the Line developer page, when we want to add our webhook URL into the setting, and you will see that you will need to have a valid HTTPS URL. In that case, we are not able to just use the IP address and then the port, because that will not be able to certificate it by the SSL. So now we will need to have our own domain to, and then make a SSL certificate for it. So if you already have your domain, you will need to go to the domain setup and then add the new record. And in this case, I will use this linebot, and the type will be A, TTL will be 3600 as a default value. I don't change. And then when you set the change, and then on our target, you will need to use the target of this IP address, which is the IP address of our Express server up and running. Okay, and then you just save the change. And now, after doing this, we will be able to see. Okay, we will open a new terminal here, and then we will believe we will be able to pin this domain with the correct IP address. Okay, as you can see here, the domain has already been successfully redirected to this address, which is our address. Now everything is done. I'm gonna log into my remote VM, remote virtual machine again. Okay. Now, when we are done with this, it means that we already have our domain, and we already have the domain redirected to the IP address. And now what we need to do is make a certification for it. So how to do that? We will make use of the certbot. If you don't really know how to use the certbot, I have another video for that. You can have a look at that. So we will use this sudo certbot, and we will use nginx. Oh, before that, we will need to set up the nginx to route the traffic from 80 port to 3005 port. So it means that every traffic goes to the live bot. Every traffic goes to livebot.dev.eric.mol, and then it will go to we will route it to localhost 3005, which is the one we are run, which is the port the Express server is running in. Okay. Now let's go to our nginx setting. Oops, I forgot the etc. Oops, what happened? Okay, actually I have already created this one. If but you won't have this, and then you will need to create this one with the name of the domain that we just created. So in this case, it will be livebot.dev-eric.mol. Okay, so we will need to set it up sudo vim livebot.dev.eric.mol. Okay, so this is the setting that I have already done. So the first
the only very simple one you will need to add it up, which is this one. This listen port is 80, and then this is not necessary, but you can put it here. And then server name, this is very important. You will need to put the domain name that we just created. And then location is very important. It means that when the traffic goes to the slash, I mean the root URL, and then it will be redirected to the proxy path, which is this one, localhost 3005. And the following 5 settings is, I believe, not very important, but you can just let it here. Okay, so when you make this done, we can go to the next step, which is the Nginx certificate, which is the SSL certification. We will need to make this domain SSL certificated by using this command sudo servbot --nginx, and we will need to specify the directory, and then which is libot.dev.eric.mo. And then when you click this, and then you will create the servbot will create a new SSL certification for this domain. I have already done that, so you can do that in your local machine, and that's all. And what the last part is that to make sure if we really have this certificated, we can do it by sudo servbot certificate. Okay, now it lists out all my certificated domain, and then the first one is my blog, and then second one is my core server is 9 and this one is the one that I have that we just created. Okay, that means that we are able to use this domain with SSL certification. Okay, and let's go back to our browser and then go see if we are able to use that. Then we use the libot, this one. Whoa, now it's working now. Okay, so the very last step is that we need to link this domain with the Line developer setting page, the webhook URL. So this is very important. And as you can see, I have already added here. You will need to use the edit and then put your link here and put your URL here. Before that, you will need to enable the use webhook switch. And you might be wondering what is this, and this is the sub URL that we have already done here. Good. This one. So we make a sub domain here, and then when somebody send the message by line to the line cloud, and then the line cloud will send the traffic to this URL and this URL, which means this Express server, and then the server will do something here. And then for now, what we do is very easy. It's this one, as you can see, this one, and this is when the line type is text or message, and then we'll do nothing. If it is not text, either text or message, it will return null. And then if it is, and then we will send back exactly the same text that we received back to the user. So that's very easy. So when we do everything is done, and then we can try in the line. Well, I just don't do that for now, but it is everything we need to do because it is already working fine. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. That is what we need to do to set up a Linebot with the Oracle free tier VPS, and you can change it. You can change the logic by yourself here to make whatever you want, whatever logic you can. For example, if you want to receive 1 + 2 = 3, like some kind of mathematic thing, you can change it here you can change it here to the logic of the mathematic thing. It's very easy. So hope you enjoyed this video, And thank you. I will see you next time.